What's up, everybody, and welcome to the channel. I got a good one for you today. So, backstory. I started a stream last night knowing I was going this direction with making this video, and the stream was titled something along the lines of making UFL good, or how to fix UFL, right? Because even though I believe they should have done more than just one little hot fix to the goalkeepers, it ended up being more impactful than I thought, making the game a little bit better than I thought it would. So, even though right now I wouldn't consider this a serious contender to be a good football game because it's just not skill-based, it isn't far off if you look at one by one how long it would take for UFL to turn this game around if strikers fixed one thing at a time even. I wish they would just fix them all, or at least a few more things, not just one at a time, but even if they did and they went in this order, they could still turn this into a pretty serious football game. And if they kept going in that direction, next thing you know, we will have a very good UFL football game. And all of those people laughing at the game now, all those people who gave up, will be crawling back. And so as I'm talking about this, I faced this player in the first match. And for those of you who don't know, he's another smaller content creator like me, but one that pushes the agenda of exploits, that speaks from a point of a novice or someone who doesn't really know football, and somehow people just can't tell. I mean, if you know, you're listening to the words. You don't even have to watch too much of a video. You could even read the thumbnails and see that he's just going for clickbait. You click in there, you listen, and it's just nonsense, not helping players at all. And the reason I take that so personal, one, is because we need this game to go in the right direction, right? We need constructive talk about the game, not someone that's going to say, this game is great, when there's so many issues that need to be fixed, and only saying this game is so good because of one or two reasons. Either of them can be reasons why he shouldn't be, creating content for people who don't know any better to follow. One, he doesn't know any better, so he says this is a great game, even though it's not, and there's certain people that might follow along with that. And then two, he's talking from a place of, I can't say this game's bad, I can't tell the truth about the game, because I don't want people to stop playing, or I don't want to get on the bad side of strikers. I'm a content creator. You never know. Maybe they'll give me packs to open like these other guys, right? I mean, you're talking about a guy who literally got upset when a larger content creator shouted me out and wanted to comment in the video, look at me over here, look at me, don't forget me. What are you? And he's a guy that I've beaten. Literally, if you go back and look at the games, I already told somebody everybody, I will cash app you if you go back through all the daily grinds and look at the record of me versus Dagger. It's literally something along the lines of like 130 wins, maybe 5 or 6 losses, and a few ties, right? And each loss was during a time where there's heavy exploits to be used that could really affect the game. But the bottom line is, skill does prevail. He just doesn't speak on that. He doesn't speak on the game being played in the right way. And we just don't need people like that in a game where the player base is just crashing. We need to help push the positives of this game. Push the ways this game could be a skill-based, good football game where the player base can grow. And this community is all about that. So, long and behold, I'm talking about ways we can fix UFL and push it in the direction we're talking about. The positive direction, skill-based football game. Grow the player base, right? Turn this game from a laughingstock into an actual competitor with the best, more skill-based football games. And as I'm talking about this on stream, long and behold, the football gods give us this matchup to prove skill prevails, to prove playing football the right way is going to always win over exploits. Even if they might get a couple wins out of you, the football is just more attractive. The game is just better when you play skill-based and not exploit-based. And I'm going to show you several examples through this game as to how they can improve the game, get these rats out of the game who just use exploits who help to ruin the game, and then we can have a good future and not this constant negativity around the game, not this constant need to voice our frustrations and even feel the need to quit or leave the game or do what I do, which is play the game sparingly, hoping one day it will get better. And here's the first thing I'm going to point out. This is unequivocally a penalty kick. And all around the field, even with fouls, they seem to not call them anymore. I don't understand it, but this is unequivocally a penalty kick. And so I don't know if it's a situation like previous patches where as they fixed one thing, they broke others, and now they, took out fouls by, mistake. But something needs to be looked at with fouls because it is happening all over the pitch, and obviously that's going to be exploited. It's going to be a way for an opponent to foul, knowing that they can't win the ball fairly, and they're going to be able to break up attacks they really shouldn't and not be punished for it. So hopefully Strikers looks into that. That's a new one, the no foul thing. I noticed that after the goalie hot fix. So as we move on, I just want you to kind of look at the decisions both teams are making. And what you will notice is we both came out in a 4-1-2-1-2, and my opponent switched to a 4-2-4 because he wants to exploit one thing and one thing only. You'll see it time and time again. Go out wide, cut in, finesse shot. Why is that? Because they boosted the goalie's butt. The one thing that seems to score over and over and over again is pull-up finesse shots. What I mean by pull-up is you don't have to face the defense, because if you do, and you're a low-level player like my opponent, if you try to beat the defense, you're going to get stopped every time like you've seen before, and you'll see time and time again. So in UFL, you have players that are able to simply not engage with the defense. They aren't able to pass through the defense. They aren't able to dribble through the defense, so they pull up. They try to take shots from the top of the box. Now, right here, well done. You have to give credit where credit is due. Honestly, based on how he was playing and how he plays the rest of the game besides that, I thought he was for sure going to pull up, so I fully committed to stopping that first, what I thought was going to be a finesse shot. Then he managed to get a good turn and shoot, and should have been a goal, right? It was a post hit, though, and the reason why I'm okay with it is because time and time again in this game, I outshoot him, 4 times as many shots on goal. His goalie makes saves, so one post hit more than evens out. I mean, if you add up all the times I shot and the goalie shouldn't have saved it based on, the probability of my shot going in real life, even Isak's header earlier, I mean, it more than evens out. It's actually in favor on my end, where I would have scored way more goals even if his post went in and my header went in, plus my shots that his goalie saved. I mean, he literally gets one shot on target the entire game, and a big reason why is because of outside of that one time, he went for the same thing every single time, because that's what rats do. They try to exploit one thing or the two things that can give them goals without being able to be defended, because they're not good enough to actually pass the ball around and create chances through the run of play. And you'll see later, he tries to go for not only the pull-up shots that you see over and over, but he'll attempt to go for the lob through ball glitch. You can tell by the angle, you can tell by when he plays the ball, he has no real chance of winning it outside of my defense locking up when the exploit occurs, right? And you see here at halftime, this at the end of the game will get even worse. But this is the reason why rats become rats, because they're too lazy to work on their skill, I should say, and change what you see here into actual good football where they can compete. So they take shortcuts and try exploits, and then you have someone like this spreading this nonsense that he does, right? And the lack of knowledge that he has because he doesn't work on skill, and yet he'll have tactics videos and tips videos and all this, and it's like you don't even have skill to begin with, and you don't work on skill to get better. It'd be one thing if you were working on it actively and sharing what you were doing to get better from a lower skilled player to try to improve, but you just use exploits because you get outplayed like this. And so on his side, he'll try to say, oh, it was only a 1-0 win, goal late in the game, but he won't point out all of this stuff that happened in the game that shows what I'm talking about. And that's the point. He won't show the stats. He won't show that in a skill-based era of UFL, this is a 5-0 game. In the overall aspect of it, you're going to lose like you have about 130 times compared to the 5 wins that you get going for exploits, right? He won't say that. And unfortunately, some people still follow his advice. And I was there. I've told this time and time again. On my journey up in FC, there was a ton of nonsense content creators, and I had to sift through it and see what was true helpful information and to see who was just trying to get me to click and watch their videos for no other reason than their personal gain. So they'd say a bunch of crap. That is what this guy does, and in the gameplay you can see it. It's just you have to actually be able to watch the game. You have to actually be able to understand what you're watching, understand how each player is playing. So when you pay attention to the details it's like, okay, I see what you're saying. If you don't, if you just kind of watch, let's see, how the game goes. Let's see if there's any standout plays or any goals. Well, then you're only going to see what, like 1-0. You're going to see, oh, he hit the post the second time there. Oh my gosh. Which, by the way, I forgot about that, but that's what he does. That's what UFL and Strikers needs to fix. They made it so hard to score, and then they put these exploit ways for players to get chances, right? I mean, literally, he doesn't beat my defense at all. What you're going to see time and time again is that when my defense is engaged with, I win the ball, because even though, as everyone knows, it's tough to defend, there is skill in it, which you can see my defensive masterclass. You can just watch any of my streams and see how I defend, right? I'm not perfect, but I make it happen time and time again by anticipating, by knowing the game, by knowing what decisions to make. That's what I'm trying to share with you guys. However, sometimes you have a player like this. Okay, he's pulled up, 3 different times and came close to scoring despite the stats. Go look at the stats. Terrible. But instead of him using this as a way to say, look, this is nonsense, I'm able to do this. I shouldn't be able to pull up these. I can't beat the opposing defense and just get a good shot because they didn't fully fix finesse shots. However, they buffed the goalie, so when other players get truly good chances from build-up, they don't even come close to scoring, but I can just pull up and hit a finesse shot. That's what he should be saying to get the game fixed. If you look back, I've done it time and time again using things that I've done as examples. Like, they need to actually fix this. He's just a player that will show the post hits, right, and then not show the stats, not show how many times he's lost, which is really an example of why you shouldn't play like this player plays, why you shouldn't use exploits, because it doesn't prevail. But it also does ruin the game, because players go against it and they go, what's the point of playing against this? When 2 players play good football in this game, you've seen from my stream when it happens, it is actually a pretty good game. It is no doubt a way more fun game. So that's what we need promoted. That's a big reason why I have problems with players like this. And there's another thing that brings players like this to UFL that we need to talk about, which is the random passes that go in the wrong direction. Opponents that aren't that good at the game are going to love things like this, right? Because they're going to get outplayed most of the game. They're going to get outpossessed, like in this game. It ends up like 61 or 62 to 30 something or whatever it is. It's so one-sided, it's not even funny. But they know that there's going to be those random times where they don't have the ball, they can't get it back because they're not skilled enough, and the game, for whatever reason, causes a pass in the wrong direction, and the opponent will win the ball when they didn't earn it, right? I'm going for a wide open pass to my striker. For some reason, the game decides to play it to my winger. I'm going to a wide open pass to my winger. For some reason, the game decides to play it to my striker. And it's the same thing with the through balls. Only being able to play the through balls at a certain angle, instead of, you'll see a couple times in this game, I have a wide open through ball. Player making a great run, you could see what I'm going for, and boom, the through ball locks onto the defender. Even though the lane was open, right, for whatever reason the animation doesn't go through, it locks onto the defender and they win the ball undeservedly. Those are the things that need to be fixed, as you see the game winner here. Now, it was a beautiful goal. Look at this pass from Chiesa. I mean, if UFL striker spreads things like this, this is excellent. That was a brilliant animation on that pass. They just need to work on some of the exploits. They just need to work out all of the things that make this a non-skill-based game. Turn it into a skill-based football game. Your player base will grow. The interest will generate, again, just like it did at initial release. And you will have an excellent football game. So you need to start going in the direction that favors skilled players. You need to go in the direction that allows games like this that are so lopsided to turn into 5-6 nothing games like they really should be, like they really would be in other football games. Because then the rats won't want to play, and the rats are those players who are showing your game in a negative light. Just like I said before, strikers, they don't want players that don't play with skill, that use exploits to promote their game, because it makes them look bad. It's like, look at this trash game. Who developed this game, right? They want players to use skill and show highlights such as this goal. But imagine if they take out all the nonsense and you can show 5 or 6 more highlights like this, instead of highlighting the exploits that are in the game, because they keep games like this close when they shouldn't be. So, let's keep the word spreading. Let's keep this movement going. Let's keep this community growing. And we can push UFL to the top. We can definitely push it to a better place than it is now. Have fun. Keep grinding. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.